All right, everybody. We are back, going live again tonight. I finished up the little things that I needed to, it's already looking shiny, touch up on this. I'm actually going to end up spraying this in the morning. I'm not going to spray it tonight. It's already getting a little bit late, so we're going to leave that one. And here I've got new canvas set up, and this is a canvas version of that one that we were just doing. And it's the first time I've tried this on canvas. We're going to see how it turns out. I'm going to paint in the black lines. That's what we're going to start with tonight. I don't know if you can see very well, but I do have all the lines drawn in with pencil already. So tonight we're simply just taking Mars Black of the golden version, and that's all we're going to be using. We're just going to use this Mars Black, start painting in those lines, see how much we can get done in the next about 45 minutes. I'll probably go until about 8:30. The brush that I'm going to try, since this is the first time that I've done this, is just, let's see where I can hold that. We're going to see it, little round brush. The reason I'm going to try this one is because when I actually press it down, the hairs don't fray out like with some of the square brushes that I have. I was going to use this one, but it kind of frays out a bit. So we're going to try this one. We'll see how it goes. Put some Mars Black. I just have my palette down here beside me. You can kind of see it there. Sorry, it'll be out of your view a little bit. Next time, maybe I'll put it over here. But I'm still working out this setup that I have here. And since we're just working with one color tonight, it'll be easy to, add more on the palette if I need to. And yeah, let's see how this goes. And sorry if I don't respond to any of your questions right away. The chat is behind me on my computer, so I'll look back every once in a while. But if I don't reply right away, then that's why. At first I was thinking, okay, how can I get this? How can I get these lines to be even all the way through? But when I'm burning them on, they're also not even all the way through. So I don't think I need to worry too much about that. And then when I'm adding the colors in the blocks in, I can easily just go over the black paint a little bit or adjust it by bringing more black paint in if I need to. I guess in that way, it gives me a little bit more freedom. But it'll be interesting to see how this how this works out in the end. And I'm using one of those wobble chairs. I don't know if you've ever seen those. I did a little review on it. If you want to check it out, it's actually kind of useful for working on a big canvas like this. So I can easily move around. Yeah, so I can already tell it's probably a little bit wide in some spots. But like I said before, I can easily, with the color, with the block of color that I bring into the block, I can go over whatever piece is too wide. I think the most important thing that I'm focusing on right now is just making sure in the middle of that line that it is solid and all the way through to the canvas. Otherwise, yeah, the light will show through on the finished product, and that's not what we want. And so I'll end up being a little bit generous in some spots with the paint, and that's totally fine. But I've never done one of these styles of paintings this large before. This is a 24 by 36 inch canvas. I don't know if I said that or not already. I love working on this size. Otherwise, a lot of my realistic animal paintings are this size. If you want, you can check those out on my website. I don't really have time lapses of those ones because I didn't have the recording software for it. I still quite don't. And since they're so large, they do take so much time that it wasn't really feasible at that time to be recording those ones. I did some, what am I looking for? I took some pictures of them to make like a photo time lapse. But I didn't get a video in of a lot of those larger ones. So yeah, some of these lines are going to look a little bit messy to start, but in the end, I will be able to clean them up. And they might, yeah, they're already looking a little bit thicker in some spots. No, maybe not too bad, actually. No, I think we're okay. I've had this drawn out for over a week now. Just been waiting for, I had other orders that I needed to fulfill before I could go back and jump in to do what I want to paint. There's always that dilemma as an artist. Do you accept custom orders because it's going to take away from your time, painting new things that you want to paint? But I think because most of my custom orders end up being recreations of pieces I've done, I don't mind it. It's when somebody's like, "Oh, can you paint my dog?" Yeah, but I would prefer to be working on something else, Not that I don't like painting animals for people, because I do. But there's a lot of other artists out there who do pet portraits, and that's great. I'm hoping to kind of make my name doing other things. With the wood painting, if you were just watching earlier, about half an hour ago, when I was finishing up that wood painting, and I missed a few lines burning that first round. And so that was one of the things I was doing tonight, was finishing up getting those missed lines. That's something I'm not going to have to worry about with this one. I already painted your dog, Portia. Yeah, definitely. I do love painting animals, and I find that when I do paint animals in the end, that I use when I use reference photos to get the proportions of the animal right. I'll either put the image onto a grid on my computer so I can measure it, and then measure it on my canvas, or I'll actually put the photo and project it onto my canvas, and then I'll be able to, you know, mark where the face is, mark where the eyes are and the nose are. Because I find when doing animals, those proportions are so important. If, you know, if an eye is a little bit off centered, or even the nose is just slightly tilted the wrong way, then things kind of look a little bit funny. I haven't done a tutorial yet of animal fur, but I do have a couple of time lapses of some 16 by 20, I guess, animal side profile portraits that I've done. Like I did one of a buffalo, a bighorn sheep, a mountain goat, and a bald eagle. And so you can kind of see a little bit in that video my process of how I do fur. I guess the key thing is definitely just layers, a lot of layers, and just slightly changing the colors or the tone in those layers as you go to really create that depth. Yeah, that's a good process there. I'm not a very good sketcher, so I usually end up using reference photos. I claim to be a painter who can't really draw. I can draw a little bit if I really put my mind to it, but I dove right into painting. I didn't really do much with drawing before I started painting, and I admire people who can draw really well. All right, let's come back over here. Of course, where did I put a cloth? Yeah, definitely. It is easier to do one type of art than another. Even I find with just with painting itself, I've tried watercolor a few times, and watercolor is difficult too. You know, it's tricky. There's different techniques to it, and I haven't tried oil painting. Maybe a few years down the road I'll try that. But I feel like I'm still learning things with acrylic painting, and there's still things that I want to do and things that I can do with acrylic paint, and so I'm just going to be sticking with that for now. But yeah, I did say I want to get into a little bit of digital art as well. I think digital art would be cool. Like I saw some of yours that you had posted, that you shared to me in that email. Those are pretty cool. I'm thinking we might get the sky done here tonight. Oh yeah, this line's definitely too thick, but that's okay. We'll be able to fix that up when we add the colors in. Oh boy. No mistakes, just happy accidents, right? Just making sure that middle is fully covered there. Oh man, I put my pinky in that same spot. Okay, let's keep on going here. I thought about adding a little bit of flow agent to this paint, but I don't want it to be too thick. I want it to be or sorry, too thin, and just, stretch the paint thin. I really want that black to be solid, so I'm just going to stick with this heavy body paint that I've got going on here. Yeah, definitely. And no problem for taking a look at your work. That was fun. I like sharing work with other artists, and I'm glad that you're able to share that with me. And yeah, I've found that, it's been 5.5 years since I started painting, and it was in 2014. And it wasn't until 2017, the fall of 2017, that I really started doing animals. And I did a lot of realistic animals for the next couple of years. And then it was in, I think you were watching yesterday, Lavender, when I was talking about it, it was in the fall, last fall, that I started doing these kind of geometric landscapes, especially on wood. And yeah, I've found that, as time goes on, you learn new things or you try different things. And that's how art transforms, and that's how your own style is really formed. And I feel like that's kind of how I've found this style that I like, and we'll see how long this style goes for before I try something else, and maybe this will stick for a few more years. As of now, I'm kind of seeing it that way, but you never know. Maybe I'll discover something else and go with that. Or hope I'm not covering the screen too much here. Let's see here. Oh no, we're all right. Okay. I'll shift over as I get. There we go. Now I won't block your view at all. Bring this light back over a little bit. I've got 3 different lights going on. Got the one above me, one by the computer, and then one to my right here by my palette. Trying to give the most amount of light for the best quality. Doing fan art of movies and such before I started doing more original. Yeah, that's what it takes, just doing something, trying something, and then eventually you think, oh, maybe I can try something else and do something else. So I think one day I'll end up trying oil painting, and maybe I'll think, why didn't I try this 10 years ago? But in that same breath, as I said before, I feel like there's still so much I can do with acrylic paints that I don't want to cut them short either. Slide this over a little bit. Oh yeah, these lines here are definitely thicker than planned. But I'm kind of going for speed right now because those can easily be adjusted later. If you missed the stream earlier, I was using a blowtorch on the piece of wood, that wood painting that I've been working on the last few days. So if you want to see how I use the blowtorch on it, that short live stream should be up now, just on my channel, just under the past live stream playlist. It was only about a 20-minute video. I was outside doing that, and then I came back in and set this up. So if you did miss that and you want to see how I use the blowtorch in it, go check it out. I think this is the first live video that I've actually shown my face in. The other ones were just either on my desk or that one outside tonight. But I'm excited to be working on these large pieces live. It's fun to do this. And I think in the end, what I'm going to do is paint the edges black. And so if I go a little bit over here, or even end up going over with any other color, that's not a big deal because I'm just going to be covering it all up with black in the end. I'm a bit too camera shy. I think I was for quite a long time, but once I started doing other videos on my channel, that was kind of the first step. And then it's taken a long time to actually start doing these live videos. It's been just over a week now, including the few videos that I did on Twitch before I started doing them here on YouTube. But yeah, so far it's been fun. You just got to do your own thing, and some people will think you're weird, and other people will appreciate what you do. I'm sure a lot of people think, what is this guy rambling on about? Especially my wife. She probably thinks that, sitting down in the basement talking to himself. But that's okay. I don't mind if people think I'm weird. I just like to share a little bit of art with people. Hopefully inspire them to try something new. Oh, okay. Yeah, she's already married to me and she already knows I'm weird, so it's okay. I had started painting before we got married, so she already knew that I was a crazy artist. Done some live stream on Minecraft gaming. I'm actually a big Minecraft fan too. And I've considered streaming some of that on a different channel, not on my art channel. This is strictly for art, this stuff. Brush this off here. It's getting a little bit clumpy. I'm going to have to add some fresh black onto the palette here. When I first started painting and I saw that there were different types of black, I thought, what am I getting myself into? But it's true, there actually are different types of black. Mars black is, from what I can tell, is more warm black. Lamp black or bone black is, or ivory black it's actually called, is a little more cooler. I was that exact same way, not with my little brother, but um, with a friend of mine. He played it for a long time, and then one day I just finally tried it, and I was like, "Oh, this game's actually fun." I think it's the just the freedom of it, being able to build whatever you want, and then the artist side of me wants to make everything look nice, be symmetrical or things like that. Okay, let's slide back over a little bit here. Hey Beverly, thanks for chiming in here. Um, so on the grid on my computer, I just use the application called Open Office, and that's what I use for measuring out on the sides, where the mountain's going to start, and then in the middle here, where the different peaks would be. But in terms of the shapes, it doesn't really do anything for the shapes for me. The shapes are all just drawn on freehand afterwards. The grid that I use is more just for the proportions of where things start and where things end. Where the dips in the mountains would be, kind of where the tallest parts of the trees might be. But then I even just kind of adjust that as I go. And then what else did I use it for on this one? That's pretty much all I used it for on this one. Where the lake begins, where the dock is. But then when I use the grid on, well, actually, let me actually phrase this differently. With one like this, then I will set the parameters of the grid on the application to be, for example, the smaller wood ones that I do, they're about 7 by 11. And so I'll set the parameters on that application for the sheet to be 7 inches by 11 inches. And then I can stretch out my reference image to fit properly. And then I will do it that way. And then what I've done in the past is then if it was, for example, this one, to bring out a 24 by 36, then I would set my parameters on the application to be 24 by 36. Then I'd resize the image to 24 by 36, measure out those points, and then I would draw it on. But since this one's one that I've already done, I actually used my projector for this one. So I just took like a skeleton version of this with just black lines, an image of it, projected that on here, and then drew all the lines on with pencil. But in terms of some of the wildlife and animal paintings that I've done, then I will, if it's on a smaller version before I got my projector, then I would, put it onto that application, set the size of the page to maybe 8 by 10 or 16 by 20, whatever the painting was that I was doing. And then I could measure out, where the eyes are, where the nose is, if it's a deer, where the tips of the antlers are, things like that. But for these ones, all the shapes inside that you see, those are all drawn on freehand. Yeah. Yeah, definitely give that one a try. Lavender, I like the creativity of the building. That's what got me hooked on the game most, probably due to being nice. Yeah, I definitely agree on that one. yeah, for the longest time when I first started doing animal paintings, I would put the reference photo that I was using into that application. And yeah, for a 24 by 36 one like this, then I would, make it that size and then have to measure in on the application, put my mouse where it was. It would tell me how far in it was and how far down it was or up it was. And then I'd get my ruler out and do that same thing on the canvas. And that's one of the reasons I ended up getting just a cheap little projector. It was like $50 or something. And then I just project the image onto the canvas, and then I can quickly go mark, here's where the eyes are, here's where the nose is, here's the outline. And it takes 15 minutes instead of a couple hours. It saves me a ton of time. I've got one drawn out right now, this size, of two deer that are butting heads that are fighting. That one's been drawn out since I think before we had our baby, which is a long time. But there's just been so many other things I've been working on. Yeah, I'm hopeless with drawing too. Don't worry about it. I find there's so much more freedom with paint. I don't know. I just enjoy the painting way more. And on some of the art groups that I'm a part of on Facebook, every once in a while you'll get somebody who will be like, "Oh, don't use the projector. That's cheating. It needs to be done freehand." No, it doesn't. There's no rules to creating your own art. Do whatever you want. As long as you're not plagiarizing somebody else's work and trying to sell it, creating art, anything is fair game. Do what makes you happy. What time is it? 8:18. All right, I think we're just gonna finish up the lines of the sky here for tonight, and I think we'll call it. Call it good after that. I can't spend all night painting. I need to spend some quality time with my wife too. And I know she's listening, so I know she'll hear that. I know I'm not being sarcastic. Slide that over a little bit. This looks messy so far, but that's okay. That'll just make it look that much better once these lines are a little bit more um, smooth edged, I guess is the what I'm looking for. And then, yeah, tomorrow we'll probably start into the mountains or the forest or something, one of the two. I think I forgot to draw a line on here. I think after doing this so many times, I'd remember where all the lines are. Let me quickly look. Oh no, I didn't. I thought there was going to be a line going across right here, but there isn't. Guess I got it right the first time. Some of these lines I'm going to have to go over just a little bit again to make sure that they're completely solid. Sorry if I'm blocking the view here of this one. It's just a quick little sideline. Yeah, it'll definitely be a good start. I mean, you always got to start somewhere. The beginning always looks the messiest. I remember one painting of a deer I did. He's laying down in the grass. Anyways, when I start animal paintings like that, I'll usually just, after drawing out, the outline of the body and where the eyes are going to be, and then after that, then I'll work from the background forward. But I don't want to end up accidentally covering where the animal is, so I'll just do big black blobs for the eyes. I'll fill in the body all with one color. And yeah, for a long time when I was working on that deer painting, he had just two massive black eyes right in the middle of the canvas. It looked almost frightening. Okay, let's bring this line down here. For the longest time, I didn't really have much space to paint. And so now that I have all this space down in our basement to paint, it's been a lot of fun. And that's why I was able to, start doing these live videos. So I hope in the next few months to really be doing a lot of painting in the evenings. We'll see. I'm also a teacher, and so it's summertime right now, so I've got a little bit more time on my hands. But even come August here, then I'm going to be spending a bit more time planning for the fall, and so we'll see. Hopefully, I can continue to paint at least a few times a week in the evenings and keep this live stream going. For me, this is a way to relax. Yeah. We'd all be painting for us trying to do those lines. Yeah. And Lavender with paintings like that, I often have trouble deciding whether to do. Yeah, I find with wildlife paintings, personally, I like doing the background first, and then I can kind of overlap where the animal is. But I know a lot of people who also do the animals first, and they will start from the eyes and work their way out to the whole thing. I like to work my way in all the way to the eyes, because then when I paint the eyes at the end, it just brings the whole thing to life. It's one of my magical, happy moments that I enjoy every time I paint an animal. Yes, we would, but we have time to kill. Yeah. I wish I could be painting here all day with you guys. No, I've got important things to do during the day too. I've got a baby to be with. One day maybe she'll paint with me. I don't know. Nobody in my family paints or does art stuff. I'm the only one, so we're not quite sure where that interest came from. But if my little girl likes to do art when she gets older, that's great. If she decides to do something else, that's great too. I might have just the right amount of paint here for what we're doing. Single floor, 4-bedroom place. I'm using the spare room as my art room and paintings hang throughout the house. Yeah, I've got a few. I think just one of my paintings up in the house right now. Just my big bear paintings up in the living room. My parents have, I think, 4 of my paintings in their house. One of them, which is actually theirs, I gifted it to them. The other ones I'll eventually take back once we have more space for them. And you got art from your dad's side? Mom and sister don't paint or draw. Yeah. My mom does a lot of crafty things. She's a very crafty lady. she likes to, she can sew and quilt and um, I think it's called pat and crochet and knit and do all that kind of stuff. But not much on the painting or drawing side of it. Okay, I got all the skylines in, and it is 8:27. I'm just going to see if there's any little lines I can touch up right now while we're here before we finish this one off. I'll make sure that these lines are thick enough, and I figure I may as well use up the rest of this black paint that's just sitting on my palette before it dries and goes to waste. I've found that a lot of people, I don't know if complain's the right word, but they just talk about how quickly acrylic paint dries on their palette. And maybe just because I've worked with it now for quite a few years, but I feel like it doesn't dry that fast. Like it is, obviously it's fast compared to oil paints, but I feel like I'm used to it. And if I know I'm going to be using it for a while, then I have some fluid that I add to it instead of water, because then it keeps the pigment of the paint better than what water does. Water kind of separates it. And then I'm able to work with it for really up to a few hours. It does pretty good. Yeah, especially white. White is definitely the one I go through the most. So that's, I actually just bought a fresh white last Friday because I'm almost finished. Where's the white? I don't have it here, but I have about that much left of the white. This is the black, but I have about that same amount left of white. So I went and got a new one because I know for this big guy, I'll be using a decent amount of white, especially up in the sky here. Okay. Just touch up a few other little spots here where I can see light showing through. And I'm sure there's going to be a few spots that we'll have to come back to even later. But, I almost considered, maybe I will still consider it for another one, maybe even for this one, is trying some of those paint pens. Could try some of those paint pens, and I could just draw on the black lines with the paint pens instead of having to paint them on. I think that would save me a lot of time. But I bought 2 different kinds of paint pens, and maybe I just didn't get the right kinds, but they still just like they still kind of seem like permanent marker in the sense that they bleed a lot, and it just didn't get the effect that I thought it would with something called a paint pen. But who knows? I think that's when I actually noticed how expensive art can be for supplies. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I never get supplies unless I have a coupon or unless they're on sale because it is dang expensive. But that's the bonus once you've been doing it for a while, and if you can start selling some pieces, then it'll fund itself. And so that's why I'm glad at the point where um, I'm able to fund my own hobby with, I can sell paintings and then I can go purchase more supplies and usually still have a profit afterwards. And but for a while it's definitely investing your own money into it. And yeah, it was a while that I was, what was it, probably 2.5 years, 2 years, a year, I don't know, 2 years that I was putting my own money into it. And then eventually I got a little bit back. And as time goes on, then you're able to fund it. And that's definitely something I'm grateful for. All right, my jar of water is over there. That's why I do art commissions for digital art to help pocket money. Keep doing art. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you have to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, then um, it can become pretty tedious. Like even drawing these lines on tonight. This is something I've been waiting to do for quite a while, and so even though it was just painting black lines on a canvas, it was exciting for me, and it was fun. And we'll be doing more of this later. Um, yeah, I think that's it for tonight. Thanks everyone for joining in. Thanks for asking questions and chatting in the live chat there. It's always a lot of fun to talk with you all and to share a little bit about my experience and to hear some about your experiences with art. There's a light right behind me and it's kind of making a nice cloud on my face. We'll go over. But yeah, tomorrow, hopefully we'll be back on again around 7, again, 7:30ish. We'll be doing some more black lines on this. I possibly might work on this a little bit during the day to get a few more lines on here, and then we'll speed things up and we'll get more into painting the solid colors sooner than later. Hopefully by, what can I say, Wednesday or Thursday of this week, because Tuesday we're going to do the packaging up for that other painting, this guy. So Tuesday we'll package this thing up and I'll show that on the video because I know some of you are interested in that. And yeah, thanks for watching. Share it with your friends if you want to, and we'll see you next time.